Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned David, Debate Bros and Dinesh D'Souza particularly well. He has challenged our buddy Matt Karp to a debate. I don't know if you saw this, but
I did.
let's watch some of this. I haven't watched this full 6 minutes. We'll see how much of this line asshole we can take. But
recently, Harper's Magazine published a lead story by the Princeton historian Matthew Karp. And in that, he did a sort of sophisticated critique of the 1619 Project. His basic argument was that these are guys who look at American history as frozen. Racism was baked into the DNA from the beginning, 1619. And there hasn't really been any real change. There have been cosmetic changes, but the cosmetic changes have only concealed deeper forms of oppression. So it's kind of this almost monomaniacal, repetitive narrative that doesn't really acknowledge substantive and meaningful change.
I'll just say, like, go read Karp's argument for yourself because I wouldn't rely on that characterization. You're muted, David.
Excuse me. I was just saying it's a really great essay. I can't suggest it enough.
And I think that Matthew Karp knows that it's a lie, it's a distortion of American history. But he wants to have the credibility to say that on the left. And so what does he do? He bashes conservatives, notably me, in which he says things like, that we present this preposterous view of history.
It's so fucking funny to act as if Matt Karp and like the left-wing criticism of the 1619 Project is in any way related to people like Dinesh D'Souza. Like Matthew Karp making this very sophisticated argument against the 1619 Project is somehow afraid of being associated with Dinesh D'Souza. Similar to that's the most diluted shit I've heard in a long ass time.
Well, that's what's actually
The only reason anyone would like criticize that from the left is just so that they could have credibility to, criticize me, the giant towering of intellectual achievement, right?
It's been the fascinating part about this whole 1619 discourse, or one of the fascinating things, is that how hermetically sealed it is from like the Adolf Reed critique. Yes. I guess is understood. Like they have their entire universe, and that never happens. And also, I mean, Reed's circumspect about who he's going to go talk to, but they never said, "Look, I read this guy," because they're not really interested in that critique. But let's watch a little bit more of this.
Yeah.
But he wants to have the credibility to say that on the left. And so what does he do? He bashes conservatives, notably me, in which he says things like, that we present these preposterous views of history. He doesn't say what the preposterous views really are. In fact, he says something like, D'Souza's shtick is immune to facts and logic and frankly indifferent to ideological consistency. Now, you think someone who makes this kind of a broad generalization would need to substantiate it, give like 3 examples of where I have said either inconsistent things or things that are, quote, immune to facts and logic. So, of course, I thought, look, it'd be interesting to invite this guy to a discussion, invite him to come on the podcast. And interestingly, I got a note from Julia Malucci, the vice president of Harper's, saying, "I'm thrilled you're game to have a conversation with Matthew Karp about his Harper's Magazine cover story." And she goes, "I'd love to see this happen." And I even suggested debating at Princeton. And she goes, "I like your Princeton idea too." And of course, I realize that this woman is a little naive. Wait till she talks to Matthew Karp. This guy's most likely to be hiding under his desk when he hears my name.
Now, I have
I mean, hiding under his desk when he hears my name.
I have a suggestion for Dinesh. Consent to a debate in writing. See who's afraid now. Like, I don't know what Matt Karp's interest is in this, but that's what I want to see. I think that's the best way. Historians, this isn't like, this isn't college kids debating like, Me Too, right? This is history we're doing, Dinesh. So let's see, have this in writing. And let's cite sources, and I think Matt Karp would agree to that. I think Harper's would be interested in publishing something like that.
The thing is, the reason these guys are obsessed with debating is that debate is a medium in which the most like articulate person who can perform better comes out on top, not the person with the most rigorous arguments. Like, so you can check out Ben Shapiro's book, like 13 ways to debate the left and destroy them or whatever. Like the book is not called like 13 ways to like assess arguments and, you know, try to sublimate what reality is. Or like 13 ways to like.
Good faith Ben Shapiro would be a very funny character.
But yeah, I mean, cool kid's philosopher, my ass, right? This is not interested in truth. It just has talking points. He is gonna defend whatever facts are.
Exactly.
No, I mean, you know, and Dinesh, you know, he's one of these guys who tries to make it seem as if the Democratic Party, as it stands today, is like the pro-slavery organization. He's one of these people who says that the Nazis were socialists. Because they had the word socialist in their name, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is somebody who is not a very, very deep thinker. And one of my favorite examples of Dinesh's work is this movie he came out with. And I don't know why I watched it. I was very stoned, but it was a movie called America, Imagine the World Without Her. I don't know if you're familiar with this one, Matt, because it's very funny because he gets a lot of big left-wing folks. I can't remember everybody's name. If you got, like, for example, Cornel West, I can't remember if you got Cornel West, but I do know you got Chomsky.
Anything, right?
What?
Yeah.
Cornel West, he doesn't say no to engagements, right? That's like was it he who did the thing with what's his name? The guy with the Maoist guy. Oh my god.
Oh, Uhl or whatever his name is.
Fuck, I forgot his name.
Yeah,
Keep saying what you're gonna say. I'm gonna remember his name.
Well, ecumenical.
Like, Dinesh's thing is, like, basically he takes all of these like left wingers, and he interviews them and lets them basically portray their case against like some example of American history. So it's like you have folks describing American genocide against the Native Americans, slavery, you know, American imperialism, all this kind of stuff. And Dinesh cuts this movie in such an incredible way where he basically allows them to make their points, right? But he never responds to them. And basically he'll be like, you know, it'll be Chomsky, and Chomsky will be like, America, you know, it's like killed all these people in Vietnam. And then Dinesh D'Souza will cut to Dinesh D'Souza like standing underneath the Statue of Liberty, like looking solemnly at it. And then being like, well, if America did all this stuff, it would be absolutely evil. Unless it had a reason, right? And then comes up with some insane spin. But it's a hilarious movie because his entire counter argument is literally just like symbols of America. It's the Statue of Liberty. It's like the White House. It's Mount Rushmore. Like it's such a propaganda kind of mentality, right? Where like literally it's just
these guys were so bad, we have carved them into a mountain.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what's really amazing about Dinesh D'Souza is that I've seen his debate with Christopher Hitchens, right? It's an atheism, you know, versus Christianity debate.
He's a Christian, right? Dinesh D'Souza, like very much so.
Sorry?
He's a conservative Christian, right? Dinesh
Oh,
D'Souza.
yeah, big time. You know, and like the debate is not going to change your mind and convert somebody from, you know, atheism to Christianity. But Dinesh, at least in that debate, if I remember correctly, at least is doing a little bit, right? He's like engaging and he's thinking and he's arguing. I mean, the thing about Dinesh is I do wonder if this guy is just absolutely cynical at this point. Because his production right now seems to be that. I don't think that Dinesh was necessarily like, you know, some kind of bright star or brilliant thinker or anything like that beforehand. But I think he's definitely tapped into a kind of audience that all they want him to do is to say, well, actually, you know, the Democratic Party is the party of slavery.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's the non-white guy who is saying that stuff, right?
Yeah, it's people. It's for like Candace and Charlie Kirk to have somebody to cite, basically.
Yeah, and it's not really for like to put an argument out there to like convince other people. It's just to make people who already believe all this stuff think, no, I'm not actually racist. See, there's like this guy and his like not white and he's saying this stuff and he agrees with me, so I'm fine, you know.
I just wanted to share one of my favorite movie posters of all time, which is, I mean, this is like deep in the darkness of the Trump administration. This was a good Dinesh D'Souza movie.
This is the Lincoln one. Yes.
Death of a Nation. Can we save America a second time? with Trump and
Yeah,
against
like
fake
that's the
super
thing.
votes
It's like
against each other.
you like death. I don't know. Like it is like the cynical way. The cynical interpretation I think is strong because like just you're gonna play on Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
that's like sick. Like I don't know.
No, I mean I really do think I don't think personally, maybe we have listeners who do, good journalistic work too, and that would be a good piece, is sort of like look into, if you want to peer into the darkness of the right-wing machine, look at like the Dinesh D'Souza shift from, just being a kind of middling conservative operative for a long time into this pure like cynical operative that he is right now.
Do you know that he dated Laura
he must
Ingraham?
be making a lot of money, right?
Oh yeah. Wait, who did he date, Matt?
Laura Ingraham.
That's probably where he picked up a lot of this.
Yeah, Laura Ingraham dated Dinesh D'Souza in her college days. Dinesh D'Souza definitely has a type of girl. All his exes, including Ann Coulter. Damn! Dinesh...
Wow.
I think we found another motive.
And Laura Ingraham are basically the same person in my mind. They're just like different time slots in Fox, right? Even though Ann Coulter hasn't been at Fox anymore, right?
Yeah.
Just the same kind of person.
Yeah, you're right. Like nearly all his exes, including Coulter, are blonde conservatives, so it comes as no surprise as he once dated Laura. They met at Dartmouth University while working at the Dartmouth Review in the early 80s. They did some fucked up shit that I can't remember off the top of my head there, but I think very homophobic, like disgusting stuff at that review.